All right, let's jump right in. We're looking at a really fascinating economic puzzle today. It's like this massive tug of war happening inside an economy, where you've got these two super powerful opposing forces pulling it in completely different directions at the exact same time.
I know, it sounds like a total riddle, doesn't it? How on earth can an economy get smaller and bigger at the same time? I mean, that sounds impossible. But you know what? Stick with me, because we're going to break down exactly how this can happen.
Okay, so to get our heads around this riddle, we need a special tool. It's called the Production Possibility Curve, or PPC for short. Just think of it as a simple snapshot of what an economy is capable of. It basically shows you the absolute maximum you can produce of, say, two different things. When you're using all your resources, your people, your factories, everything, flat out at peak efficiency. All right, so let's look at one side of this tug of war. We've got this force that's pulling the economy's potential inward. We call this the brain drain effect. And the idea here is actually pretty simple. When you have more people leaving a country than coming in, that's called net emigration, you're losing a chunk of your workforce. This brain drain, well, it means the country's actual ability to produce stuff, it literally just walks right out the door. So what does this do to our economic model, our PPC? Well, the effect is immediate. With fewer people to do the work, the country's whole ability to produce things shrinks. The entire production possibility curve actually shifts backward and inward. What that means is the economy just can't make as much stuff as it used to. It's a classic contraction, plain and simple. But wait, that's only one side of the rope. Pulling in the exact opposite direction is a force that's all about growth. We'll call it the upskilling boost. So think about this. What if the workers who stay in the country get better, smarter, more efficient at their jobs? Through better schooling, better on-the-job training. The quality of the workforce goes up, and it's a simple fact. A smarter, more skilled worker is a more productive worker. And you can probably guess what this does to our PPC. Yep, it's the total opposite of the brain drain. When your workers are more efficient, the economy can pump out more stuff with the same or even fewer resources. This pushes the entire curve forward and outward. It's a clear sign that the economy's total potential has actually gotten bigger. Okay, so now we see the two sides, right? They're clearly defined. It is a classic economic tug of war, with the country's entire potential stuck right there in the middle. You've got a shrinking workforce pulling everything inward, and at the same time, a smarter, more skilled workforce pushing everything outward. One force shrinks the pie, the other one grows it. Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Who wins? Which force is stronger? Does the economy actually shrink because people are leaving, or does it end up growing because the people who stay are getting better at their job? Well, the answer, and you hear this a lot in economics, is it depends. It's not so simple. To really figure out who wins this tug of war, we first have to talk about a really important factor, time. Okay, so here's how time plays into this. In the short run, right now, losing workers has an immediate impact. I mean, there are literally fewer people showing up for work tomorrow. So that change in the quantity of workers, that's the big story, and the PPC is probably going to shrink. But improving the quality of your workforce through education, well, that takes a while to pay off, right? The benefits of those new training programs and degrees, you feel those much more in the long run. And that's when you might see the PPC get pushed back out. But, time isn't the only thing we have to think about. The outcome also really depends on the magnitude of each of these changes. In other words, just how big is each effect? And honestly, this is the real kicker. It all comes down to a numbers game. Just imagine for a second. You have this massive wave of people leaving, and your workforce shrinks by, say, 10%. At the same time, your new training programs only make the remaining workers 1% more productive. Well, in that case, the huge scale of the brain drain is just going to completely swamp the small benefits of upskilling. The economy is going to shrink, no question. So let's wrap this up. Here's our final takeaway. The answer to that first crazy question, can an economy get smaller and bigger at once, is that it's being pulled in both directions constantly. And where it ends up depends on two key things. Which change is bigger, that's the magnitude, and how long you wait to see the results, that's the time frame. This whole scenario kind of pulls back the curtain on these hidden dynamics that are always happening. So it leaves us with one last thing to chew on. What other invisible tugs of war, these battles between quantity and quality, are shaping the economy all around us right now?